Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Transform You podcast with me, Paula.
And me, Nelia.
And joined by our very first amazing guest, Chantel. Chantel,
Hi,
do you want to say hello to the listeners?
hello everyone. I am honestly so buzzing and so honoured to be on the podcast, especially as your first guest. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you want to give us a wee brief introduction about who you are, what it is you do? But obviously, we'll get into it a wee bit more when we ask you some questions.
Definitely. So my name is Chantel. For those who don't know me, I am a personal trainer and online coach, and I have been for the past 5 years. And I have been on my own wee journey. And like I said, we'll dive in deep with absolutely everything. But yeah, I'm a personal trainer, online coach within Glasgow, and I just like doing all the crazy stuff within health, fitness, well-being, lifestyle, you name it. I've probably done it at this point.
She's actually not lying, guys. I have said that
No,
Chantel
100%.
is like a cute version of David Goggins, but also she's in her soft gal self-care era. Like,
Yeah.
you are literally the real hybrid. You have both sides, and that's why
I've
I'm
done it all.
obsessed. I'm like, what a gal.
I know, because we were just talking about the fact that you did Cam Cooney's meditation
Yeah, at the start of
course,
the year.
and like you did Reiki and stuff. And
But
then,
also, like,
but also you're like hardcore gym gal.
yes.
Love it.
Yeah, I need that inner peace though. I think with it all it intertwines with each other, and it all intertwines even when going reflecting back in like last 6 years anyways. And it makes sense. Every single part of my journey, I'm like, that's that reason why I met that person 6 years ago to be where I am now. And it's just a fun journey.
Love to
Love
hear
it.
it. So let's get into the first question then.
Let's go. So we were both having a major stalk of your Insta.
Of course.
Lots of red flags.
Huge old stalk. And there was an image that you shared, and it's a before and after pic. I mean, you do a lot of before and after pics, which I love. But this one was I didn't find fitness easy, and it doesn't come naturally to me. Can you give us a little insight to what you were like before, and what it took to get to where you are now?
Definitely. So I think within my own journey, I've never had like a role model within families. You usually see they're all fitness or they're all sporty. I was the one that was kind of like the outsider, and they all supported me within my journey, even as a kid and stuff like that. But I never had a role model where go, because my uncle or your dad or your mum or something done it. That's the reason why they done it as a kid. I was always the bit of the kid that tried different things out and just done basketball, done running, done dancing, but I didn't ever have a place where I fit in. I was just plodding along and just in and out different areas. And I think with that, I just wanted to be different, but didn't know how to be different.
Yeah.
I know I was creative, but I didn't know how I was creative. I liked fitness, but I just didn't know where I liked fitness. And even in my younger 20s, I would say fitness was a thing, but it wasn't something that was huge to the way it is now, just because of social media and the growing platforms it's got now. It's definitely got arms and legs, but I've had to work really, really hard to be even in the position that I'm now. I know if I go off track, I can go the opposite ends.
Yep.
Even when in my early 20s, I would say I was just a bit more placid. You were just coasting through life, literally just doing your typical going to uni, going to college, working at the weekends, and sometimes going out and partying at the weekends. I never had a purpose. I didn't know what I was doing. So for me to get to be where I am now, I've had to cut a lot of people out, do a lot of hard stuff, feel really uncomfortable in every situation just to be where I am now. So it's been a hard journey, but it's also been a fun journey. It's not a journey where I go back in moments, go, I've hated every single part or I regret certain things. I don't have that anymore. Like before, if you asked me 3 years ago, I'd have probably like, oh, I regret that. Where now I'm like, just embrace your journey. It's a journey for a reason.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what we find so inspirational though, because quite often, like you said at the beginning there, someone will say, oh, I done cross country throughout my whole school life, or I was always into sprinting, and they had that sporty background, or they did have a really positive influence in their life. So
Yeah.
for you to actually just be really open and honest about, I had to do all this hard shit myself, and it has been a journey, but I think it's a journey that would inspire so many people. And I know I'm saying like we are like, you're inspiring all the gals, but I just think in general, anybody could look at all the things that you've done and just think, wow.
Younger people nowadays, because I think with the younger generation, I feel they've got this kind of insight that they need to be looking a certain way or do a certain thing or follow a certain journey or follow a certain influencer because it looks easy. Like just be yourself and just be okay with that one. Don't as my gran always said, don't be a sheep, be a shepherd in your own journey. And that's always resonated with me, like, be different, because that's okay. Like, don't just wear the certain clothing because everybody is wearing that certain clothing. Wear what's going to make you feel better. Like, I think there's a big brand within Scotland that's always everybody's wearing, and I'm like, love it, but it doesn't support me and my goals, so I won't wear it as well. And I'm quite passionate when it comes to stuff like that. If it doesn't resonate with me and it doesn't make me feel great, I'm like, nah. That's took me a long time to get to that point where I'm like, oh, nah, I'll not do it.
Aye. And like you say, it's a journey, and it's one of those things where you do learn along the way, because we've all fell into those traps where you may aren't being true to yourself. You're, like you say, being a wee bit of a sheep, and it can be so easy to get trapped there, especially when you don't have a vision for yourself, you don't really have a passion that you're following, you don't really have something that inspires you or gives you that wee spark that's obviously you've got inside of you. And do you recall a defining moment in your own journey that made you go, fuck this, I really need a change here?
I think there's two moments where one was like a fitness side of it, and then one was a self-development side of it. So my fitness side of it, I went to Camp America. I've done that twice, and that's two of those times when I went to Camp America. For those that don't know what Camp America is, you go away for like 3 months and you're working on a summer camp. Mine was 2 all-girl camps, and it was totally out the norm, because being in Scotland, you're doing XYZ, you're going at party, and you're doing this where you're putting a camp. I was doing sports coaching for them, and it's a complete different insight to what it is here back at home. You're with different cultures, you're different mindsets, and just a different routine completely. I went out not knowing a single person, and I remember coming back because I enjoyed my life out there. I was eating a lot of foods, and I did gain a lot of weight when I came back both times. But again, moments that I don't regret, because I just lived my best life and I felt great. I remember coming back from summer camp and going, I don't fit into any of my clothes. And I remember that being like the fitness side of it, where I was like, I need to change. And the only person that can do that is me. And that actually pursued me to go into my PT career, because I was like, I'm not happy where I am. And I know so many other people will be the exact same. And I hated going to uni. I was in 4th year uni as well. I was like, I hate uni. I'm hating how I'm looking. But the only person that can do that and make that change is myself. And I booked my PT course. I was into fitness, but not like, I didn't know what macros were, and I didn't know like certain programming. And I was like, but I just knew I was passionate, and I was like, that's all that matters. Booked my PT course, and I was like, there we go. That was the moment I was like, I can make this change. I made the change. And then the second moment for me was when COVID, and I think a lot of people can resonate when COVID hit.
Yeah, of course.
And I just remember like not knowing. I literally qualified as a PT, and I was thinking, right, I know what I'm doing here. And then that moment gets taken away, because PT then was being on the PT floor, being hands-on, being interactive, where that was just taken away. And I was qualified. I was sitting in my room and I was like, oh my God, what is this? What's COVID? What's furlough? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, because I was part-time in a reception job at my local leisure centre, which obviously kept you going and stuff. But I remember sitting thinking, that's not going to get me the money that I want. It's not going to pay my bills. And I just sat on my bedroom floor, literally just where I am right now. I remember just sitting there going, shit, what do I do now? And I remember opening a wee Copperberg and thinking, right, we need to make change here. And how do we make change? And I literally just sat down and wrote down like a 30-day, like monthly goal list, and thinking, if I can hit these 30 goals or 30 days, I can make that change. And one of the goals was read my books. And I got gifted a book, funnily enough, when I went to summer camp, but I didn't read it, because it wasn't my right time to read that book. And you'll probably know what it is. It's The Secret.
Yes.
And that book transformed my life. And I tell everybody in that moment that it did. Because that was the moment I was like, right, I'll start reading. And I didn't read. Like, if anybody knew me, I was not a reader. I didn't have the brain capacity to read. I love listening to things, being on the go. And my gran came into my room and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm reading this book. Like, next night she came in, she's like, are you okay? You've been into that book 2 days in a row. And I'm like, it's going to transform my life. And it did. Literally from that moment, I learned what manifesting was, and I started putting things into practice, like your car parking spaces and all these things. And when that moment started happening, I still get that parking space when I go to Tesco's now, 6 years later, or 5 years later today. So I'm like, it works. And that was the two moments that changed for me within a fitness side of it, coming back from summer camp, feeling really uncomfortable myself, not fitting my jeans, my leggings, which leggings are stretchy.
Exactly.
and I was like, I need to change. So that was like my first fitness moment. 6 months later was my personal development moment where I became self-aware because of the secret, and that kind of
Yes.
spiraled my journey into reading podcasts, crystals, and all these other bits and pieces as well.
I think so many people start off with The Secret, and it's just so funny what you said, because I was the same. Someone handed me that book about 10 years ago, and I was like, oh, what a lot of shite, because I was not ready for it. And now I'm obsessed. I've read it so many times. I've
talk
read
about that book
all the
all
ones in
the
the
time.
collection. I'm like, oh, it's when you see the stuff starting to work, you just want to tell everyone, and people think you're crazy, and you're like, I swear this stuff works.
I think it is one of those books that it just like it lands on your lap somehow.
Why?
I just picked it randomly up in a charity shop. Like it was one of those, like it was for £1.
Yeah.
Grab a bunch and then we'll go with it. And then one day just picked up and read it, and I was like, oh,
So
That's
for
'cause
listening,
it's
the
guys,
change.
yeah,
I love that.
So you are obviously inspiring people, especially for people who are maybe feeling like their identity doesn't fit into a certain box, which is obviously something that you have been amazing at doing. You know, your identity doesn't just fit a certain box. You've done a number of things which you can obviously tell us about. But since that journey over the past few years, can you bring us along with you, right? So you had that changing moment, you came back from summer camp, you know, you've explained the first 2 steps, but tell us a wee bit more about then where that took you, because it's just amazing to see all the different things that you've since then done.
I know. I think because I'm losing now and started reflecting a lot more is because a couple of weeks ago when I done that event, and I was like, God, I've actually done quite a lot. And I don't think we sit in moments where we just appreciate what we've done. So I think over the last, like, I'm going to say 5 years, especially starting like my own fitness journey, my PT career and stuff like that as well. It kind of all started when I didn't ever diet. I didn't know what dieting was. Like, that's kind of where I started. So I done like a 12-week peak. I think everybody knows that. So I was one of the main coaches, led it, and I got a really good transformation.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself in that moment, okay, if I can do 12 weeks, I wonder what I would look like in 8 weeks. And it was one of the main coaches, and he's like, you could probably do like a bodybuilding show. And I was like,
wow,
what's that? Let's try it out. I love a challenge. It's going to make me feel uncomfortable. Let's go for it, because it was a why not moment. And I was like, right, I messaged a coach, my new coach then, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I just know I want to do a bodybuilding show. Can I get on board with that? And if so, how do I do it? And a week later, that's where my kind of bodybuilding journey started straight away. So that was in 2022, 2021, I think it was. And within 7 months, I done my first show, which was in Scotland, which was amazing. But if it wasn't for like that kind of initial starting point, because I could have went down a different path, and I was driving home this morning, I was like, okay, I could have went down 2 paths, and it was that bodybuilding path that got me into crazy fitness, or probably a path of just coasting, doing bits of fitness, and probably end up going down like the party route, I would have said, because I was enjoying going out, being single, feeling good with myself, because I was starting to kind of glow up and just that feel good energy, getting a bit of attention, and I was like, this is good. But the bodybuilding kept me staring, it kept me disciplined. I stopped drinking, stopped partying, stopped going out, and that was like my journey, and that's the reason why I don't drink now. I don't go out as much. I've set boundaries within myself, and it's that kind of journey of just feeling good about myself as well. But don't get me wrong, as much as bodybuilding was great, it does come with a lot of backlash as well, because you're quite alone. You've got no time for anything else apart from you. So it is a lonely sport, but it allowed me to create so much discipline and so much beauty for myself that I probably wouldn't be able to have today if it wasn't for that journey as well.
I'm glad you said that, because that is something that does come up quite a lot with bodybuilding. Like, I was actually going to ask, did you have any negative experience from that? Because like you say, it can be lonely and stuff, but then on the flip side, you'll get people who speak out about it against, you know, like eating disorders and body dysmorphia. Is there anything that you have experienced in that?
I think within my first year, I was in such a high that I didn't experience anything negative to come with it, because I had a really good, successful first year. My first 2 shows, I placed top 3, got invited to Worlds, come back, and then I competed in the finals, and I got my pro card. So like, I was in such a buzz. Like, it was just one of those moments where it's kind of unheard of. Your first timer getting a pro card, placing top 3s, and just thriving. And I was thriving with it all. But then I when you come out of bodybuilding, you then, when you stop dieting, because I was dieting for a year, which is a lot on the body, and a lot of backlash of health that comes with it, you then plummet your weight. Because then I was like eating, socialising. Back then I got into like a relationship, and then we then obviously didn't do dating things back then as well. So it was like we then started going out, eating food and drinking and doing all these things, and because you had this guilt of not doing it before, you've got to feel like you need to do it more and more, and you're like, and I gained probably about 20 pounds, which is a lot, which is about, I think that's about 10 kilos straight after my first end of first season, which is a lot of body fat when you think about it, from going from a really small human being to then your normal lifestyle average person, which is absolutely normal. And I still looked great then, but in your head you're thinking, I'm fat, I'm feeling horrible, I feel uncomfortable because I'm not lean, I don't have a six pack. I went straight back into it again because I was so like, I need to be lean. The only way I feel validated is if I get back clean. And I was like, my coach, let's get me back on. I want to go back and prep. I want to do another 20-week cut. I'll feel good. And I probably, looking back now, I probably shouldn't have done that. I should have probably done a bit more internal work for myself and really fix not only myself, but my surroundings. My surroundings at that moment of my life weren't a positive effect on me, which affected quite a lot. That was going on around me with my business, my social life, my love life. And it kind of spiraled. But again, because I was so focused on my prep, because it was the only thing I was like, I can control this. It's the only thing I can control. That's what made me feel good. So again, but that if it wasn't for me still doing that, I wouldn't be where I am now. So as much as that prep was really hard the second year, I'm still entirely grateful for it. But it does come with a lot of things that people aren't aware of. Like, you will lose your periods, and being a natural athlete as well, you need to dig deeper. You need to do hours and hours and hours of cardio per day. And it can be draining. And you probably, if you didn't know me then, I'd have been just like this. I'm just a wee floater.
Like totally gone behind the ice.
The brain fog was like real. And even on like my peak week, it's called, so the week before your show, where you start to unwind and let the body relax and you think it's dead good, and my body went and shut down and I was having nosebleeds and I looked like a bag of poop. Even on show day, my hair's done, my tan's done, my glam's done. 2 days prior to that, I was in bed shivering my ass off because my body was literally shutting down. I was having nosebleeds. My mum was like, you need to stop doing this. And I'm like, I've got a show in 2 days, I'll be fine. I'll survive. But as soon as I stepped off stage the second time, because I'd done 2 shows for my last one, that was it for me. I was like, I'm done. I need to cut ties with everything. And it was because I wanted to keep a healthy relationship with myself, with bodybuilding, just with everything, because I was in a negative place internally myself. I knew everything else around me had to be fixed. So the only way I could do that was me taking a step back and just taking a moment to go, right, okay, what do I need to fix? And that's where kind of my next journey started within my own self, and that's where outgrow coaching actually came out as well within that 3-month period as well.
I think that's a powerful message you've just shared there, because you are being honest. So people look at bodybuilders and anyone in, that amazing shape, not an ounce of body fat on you, but you obviously share the reality of it, of the things that can come with it. They don't see the hard work that actually goes on behind the scenes. People might just think, oh, she's only eating fish and broccoli for 10 weeks, but there's a lot of work that goes into that. And then it's actually really amazing that you could just switch your mindset to one day just go, that's me, I've had enough. Because I know a lot of people might not have that mental capacity to do that, have that mindset drive, which you've obviously got. So I think that's really amazing that you've just shared that as well.
And I think with social media as well, everything can seem so great. And bodybuilding especially, and you look great.
Looks good. You've got your six pack. You do feel like, looking at you look amazing. Same with all the athletes out there. And I'm not saying every athlete is under this umbrella, but I know my own journey with it and how it affected me. And with me, I look at, a lot of people look up to me as a role model, like my clients, for example. And the moments I started noticing where I kind of needed to draw back was where my clients were copying what I was doing with the baby spoon and wanting to do photo shoots. And there's nothing wrong with photo shoots at all, but I just knew that whatever I done, they wanted to do. And I was like, I can't be that role model for them because it goes against what I want them to do. And they shouldn't be copying me as well. And that's when I was like, I think that's why I've got a better relationship with a lot of things, where I can just have that switch off. I'm like, no. Because I want my
Where do
girls to
you?
look up to me and be like, no, I can be
Yeah.
healthy and I can be strong. Where internally I was like, I've lost my period, my hair's thin and it's snapping off, and my skin's constantly breaking out, my mindset's crap at myself, and I didn't want any of my clients to look up to me and go, she's doing amazing. Where internally I'm like, I'm no. So I knew I had to just go, whew, get away
Yeah.
and fix everything, and it has worked for the long term as well.
Of course.
Where do you think that mindset comes from? Because I think you talk so often about your mindset, and like from our perspective, you've got such a strong, healthy, good mindset, and it's really inspirational. Where do you think
I
that
think
comes
just
from?
over the years I've went through like a lot of hardship as well. Like I've lost my mum, I lost a good friend within like the space of like a 3 month period. I went through a lot of like hard moments in my life where I lost my mum. The day later I lost a good friend of mine, and then a couple of weeks later me and like my first love, we split up as well. And I think with all that chaos and I'd say not negative energy, but it was just felt like negative.
Yeah.
I've managed to see the good within everything as well. And I think that's just from like having like my family and stuff like that. They always kind of push me to always do good and do better.
Yeah.
I like reading a lot of self-development books now, but also like listen to a lot of podcasts as well. Like I'm a YouTuber. I'll sit on YouTube all day and watch podcasts and
Yes.
Yeah,
watch
me too.
inspirational people that make me feel good. And if it wasn't for all those little moments that have defined me and changed me, I probably would just be floating and coasting. But I've had a lot of craziness in my life that's been like I can get through this, and if I can get through the worst moments of my life, I can kind of get through anything. I don't think it's until you lose somebody that's really close to you, or you see how much it affects your whole life, until you go, right, okay, actually, time's short, life is short. And that was the moment for me. I was like, life's too short to be sitting feeling sad and feeling crap about yourself. Like, you can make that change and you can be whoever you want to be. It's just down to yourself if you want it enough as well.
Yeah. It's interesting because we actually had this conversation the other day when we were recording, and quite often you'll find that as people who've really been through a lot of struggles and stuff, and a lot of you end up grateful for those moments, because that is where a lot of people then develop this amazing mindset. They develop this self-belief like, oh God, I actually am really strong, I can get through anything, which is obviously then what you've carried on to your own journey, and now you can inspire others, which is just fantastic.
No, definitely.
So another thing that we were talking about that you have recently just done is the marathon in Ibiza, and a few of my pals have done it, and from what I've heard, it is obviously amazing, like, you know, doing it in those surroundings, it's a sunset, but I've also heard that it's fucking hell on
insane.
earth because it's roasting, it's hills. So tell us a wee bit about that.
Well, let's just say I literally have like 5 toenails within 2 feet that I've got. So, yes, hell on earth, I have to say.
Oh my
But
God.
honestly, like, I've done Ibiza. Like most people that think of Ibiza, you think the party island. I've done it. Like we've went Ibiza, we've drank too much, we've partied too hard. I booked my marathon last July. Was that last July? Yeah, last July I booked it. I was again going through a wee funky period of my life where a lot was changing, and I knew I had to do something for myself, and that's what I wanted to do, things that I could prove to myself. So I booked that, and I booked another race as well at the same within the week. And my grand's like, again, she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, just let me be.
Are you okay,
I'm gonna
girl?
have so much fun. Like this is gonna be great." So I went out to Ibiza, and I invited my boyfriend with me because I was like, right, you run, you can pace me, and we'll go and have fun. We'll make a holiday of it. Ibiza was stunning. Like, absolutely loved every moment of it. As much as it was solid, I didn't realise how hard it was going to be. So anyone that's going to go and do it, look at the elevation. It looks tiny, but it's actual hell on earth. It's 20k of like going up, slight going down, then going back up, and then down. It's like the old Kilpatrick hills.
Oh my God.
So do hill training, because I didn't do hill training. And I was like 15k in, and I was thinking, I've got 30k to go, and I'm actually dying here.
God.
Justin's in the distance, and I remember seeing him, and he's just plodding like just his usual self, and
So
turning
annoying.
around, and
You're
I'm
like,
like,
I just
just
don't do hills.
run. Yeah.
I
But if
do
you do
flat
22k,
surfaces.
it's all downhill. It's just the
yeah,
first
see, that'd
like,
be quite nice, that part, but to get to
Yeah.
that part, wow.
yeah.
Oh,
And
God.
but honestly, I absolutely loved it. Like, it was so fun to do. I would definitely recommend anybody to go and do it, because it was just nice to go out Ibiza sober. I've never actually done that before. We went out got a car, toured the island,
Love that.
just been bits by before that I would have never seen. Like seen
Yeah.
DC. I've never been. I've been to clubs, but I've never been to like DC10. So I went outside and I was like, this is dead cool, and seeing it for quiet and seeing Ibiza for how it was. So I think that was a really cool moment. And then we went to the hippie market on the way back, and I was just in my little wee rug. So I was like, there's incense everywhere and there's crystals, and
Oh, stunning.
it was just a pure surreal moment. And then obviously doing that, getting sore feet and feeling like I pissed my pants and getting burns on my body, and just parts that people don't talk about when you're running. Like people just think running's easy, like A to B, where no, you
Yes.
probably will lose your toenails, and
Yep.
you probably will get a very sore tummy depending on how many carb gels you have. And you're probably going to need a pee stop or like a poo stop at some point. And there was no toilets on the full marathon. I was thinking, I know, and I'm like, I need to pee. There's no toilets here, and if I pull my pants down, I'm not getting back up because I'm in so much pain.
That is hell. See, when that happens. So again, social media glamorizes running at the moment, and actually,
it's not glam.
The furthest I've done is a half marathon, and I thought that was fucking solid. Especially, like you say, I avoided training in hills, and then you hit the Glasgow half marathon. It's just hills. And I was just like, what? And see having to stop for a pee.
I know you finished that and you're like, for fuck's sake.
It's about 18k in as well, and I shouldn't, like, I know I shouldn't have done it, but I was like, I'm really going it. That last stretch for me was just the worst because my legs just didn't want to work after that.
Oh, I know. I hit a wall. I hit 2 walls in my marathon, and I hit one about like 15k on, which is very early, but it's because it was just so hilly, so warm. My mouth dehydrates as soon as I'm doing any kind of fitness event, and that takes me back to when I was a kid, because when I done bits and pieces of like cross country or something, I would always get anxious and nervous, and my mouth would go dry. And I still carry that bad habit to now. And I'm like, I need to get rid of that, and that would be a learning curve this year. I'm like trying to
get rid of that dry mouth.
I would love to, but I don't think it's going to work, honestly. I get on any event and I'm like, I'm dehydrated.
No, mine's is my belly. Like I get that nervous tummy where I need to pee, I need to poop, I need to pee, I need to poop. I'm like, no, that's not happening.
I'm like,
absolutely
there's
not.
the toilets. I'm like, I'm peeing, I'm pooping, I'm going so many times. First holiday, my boyfriend's, and I'm like, hi, it's like, I feel a bit funny here, but we survived. It's all good. So 15k and then 32k. 32k, I got dragged. Like, and when I say I got dragged, Justin literally dragged my hand at one point. He's like, right, we're doing this. We're going for a sprint finish. And I was like, I just want to smile and get a good picture. He grabbed my hands for the last K of it and made me run. And honestly, like, the pictures are so funny because it's just me going,
you're behind me, help.
And then we got over the finish line and I was like, I can't feel my legs.
Oh my God.
He's just standing casual, like, oh, that was no bother. You're like, help.
Yeah, like, he's living his best life. I'm absolutely like a lead balloon. But honestly, like, it's not one of those races where you go after it and go, I'll never do that again. I was like, no, I can't wait to do that again. Like, as much as that was really hard, and you're in your own head, and I was in my own head with a lot of stuff, because you're peaceful, you're quiet, you don't know anybody that's around you. And there was parts that it was just you, because people can't come up on the hills and celebrate with you. The way I know Edinburgh in a couple of weeks will be people the full way. I was just alone, and I was like, wow, this is deep and dark.
So actually that's quite a big one, because that's what I personally love about running events is the crowd, and that's just so exciting for me. I always get so emotional at running events, but that must be actually quite different then if you're going up to hills. There's obviously nobody else there, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, running, I would say, is like spiritual, air quotations, because I think that's totally, like you just said, you're in your own head, and it's just a chance, and there's nothing going on apart from your breathing and just thinking about one foot in front of the other, one foot, and it's like a meditative state,
very
almost.
like mindful meditative.
It really is. When I started doing like running, I didn't get into running until like last year, and again off the whim I booked myself like this backyard ultra thing, so it's called the Loch Ness 24.
This is what I was talking about.
And I went out and done it, and I managed to do 77k, which is amazing for not being able to run much.
Hold on, let me do the 77k.
And it was like,
oh my God.
but I just done my Reiki qualification, so that's where it intertwines.
Yes.
Of it. And I remember speaking to my Reiki master, Louise, at the time, going, I'm going with the people that I'm going with, they're not great influences, but I'm excited to do it because I booked this before this wee moment in my life changed.
Yep.
I'm like, how do I protect myself? And we're talking about Reiki and how to use Reiki in that moment. And I used it, and I was having the time of my life. I was like, this is great fun. Like, you're in nature, and with that, it's a 7K loop. And it was just in the nature, it's in the forest, and I just felt elevated. I never had my watch on, my phone was in my backpack, so I was just connected, and it felt so nice. Don't get me wrong, that's where my toes fell off the first time, and that didn't feel so nice. And I was washing my feet, and then my toenails flipped off, and I was like, ah, what the fuck's going on with my feet? That's so ugly. And then after that, I think my toes are just hating me. But that was like where my first kind of like spiritual moment happened with running, and I was like, if I can use Reiki to help me get through this, I can do that. And I done that in the Ibiza marathon when I was getting sore, and I'm like, right, just get your Reiki, get your spirit guides, get your anything that is good energy in amongst it. And I do that quite a lot now when I'm going out to events, and I do a wee bit of meditation before just to ground me, because I know my anxiety plays right up, and I know how bad my anxiety can be. And it's a lot calmer now because of your Reiki, your meditation. I've not actually suffered with any of it, touch woods, and hopefully it keeps going this year. And that is just because I'm a lot calmer as a person as well, and done the deep work with loads of bits and pieces as well, which hopefully helps with events and getting that anxiety down as well.
So for anyone who's listening who doesn't really know what Reiki is and is like, oh, this sounds interesting, what is she talking about here? Can you share a wee bit more just about what it means for you and how then you would use that in those moments?
So Reiki is just about energy healing. It's a Japanese culture, I think it is. And I got into it again when I was actually bodybuilding. I went out and got a Reiki performed on me, and I didn't know what it was. I was kind of like, I'll take it. I love kind of like all this spiritual stuff. I like the sound baths, I like the crystals, and I just booked it with a woman in Clydebank, and I thought, let's go and be open-minded. And my first one journey of it was amazing. It was so vivid and colourful, and images were coming through, and I left feeling so elevated. Like even like my mum came through and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, this is something truly special. I then went again a year later, and actually because you had that expectation of your first one, my second one was really closed off. Like my chakras, which you've got them from your head down to your feet, were all closed off, and it was dark, and it was anxiety, and it was such a horrible feeling for me then. But it makes sense because in that moment of my life, I was going through a lot. I was going through a lot of bad stuff in my life that I needed to clear. And that's when I was like, right, this is where your journey begins with your spiritual side, because I can't have a life feeling dark and enclosed and feeling anxious and having all my chakras closed. And I was like, this isn't me. And I booked on my Reiki 1 to learn how to protect my energy, how to perform it on myself. And then I booked my Reiki 2 of how to perform it on others. And even though I'm not actually practicing that at the minute, I've just been able to do that for myself, and potentially even just, I do like Reiki sound distance on clients sometimes where I feel they might need it, or loved ones or partners or my dogs. It's just a peaceful feeling, and it's just being able to ground yourself and just knowing that you're protected no matter what situation that you're in. I know that I can take back my control and take back my emotions and just ground myself. So it's I just love it. I tell anybody, just you can go and experience it at least once.
Be open-minded.
It's so good. Every time you do it, it's amazing. Like it's a different experience every time. You'll get different sensations and images and colours, and
I've had some wild experiences through it. Like such insane, cool experiences. Like,
and do you
do
it when you're meditating? Because I started doing it when I tried to. Like it did say, don't do it too much when you're meditating. Try and practice your meditation, but then I kind of intertwined them, and it's like cool. It takes you on a different planet. Like I love it. It's so good.
So going back to health and wellness, which is actually quite a good little move on from you talking about Reiki. What does that mean to you? Also, do you have any hacks for people and others trying to start on their own wee journeys?
So I think health and wellness can mean so much to so many different people, but I think finding what health and wellness means to yourself, and then from there it's like, right, okay, then start your own journey. Like health and wellness for me is about just feeling happy about myself, being able to perform at my best no matter what. And I always look at the moments of, yes, my health and wellness of who I want to be right now, but my health and wellness of who I want to be when I'm 8 years old and I want to chase my grandkids and create a family life. And it's like, if I put the work in now to be strong, feel good, look after my hormones, look after my hair, my skin, then that will all keep going and carry going forward as well, and just being a lot healthier. And like, I think happiness is such a big thing, because when you're internally happy, people look at health and fitness, it's just like going to the gym, where actually, if you can go to the gym all you want, and I've done that for many, many years, but if you don't look after what's going on inside your head as well, then all that hard work, you might look great, but internally it's never going to come out and show exactly who you truly are. And I don't think until you look after your health, your mindset, your well-being, your hormones, just all the fine-tuning bits, then it won't all intertwine as well. And it will intertwine, which might feel it, but at one point you will just burst completely. And that's okay as well. Sometimes you need to burst in order to grow, become a new person. Like 100%. I've transformed like so much over the 5 years as well. Like, I'm not who I was 5 years ago versus now. Like, I was a girl who had under extensions, eyelash extensions, filler, all the bits and pieces, where now I'm just in my pure natural era, and I'm like trying to get my hair back to a natural hair colour, let it go naturally. And that takes a journey. Like, you need to live and learn and go up and down and do your crazy phases and just enjoy it all. So that's what I would say, everyone, to find something that you enjoy and just go with it, try it out. Do things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable as well. Don't just sit in a state of comfort. There's nothing worse where I see clients and I'm like, you're comfortable right now, we need to push you and do you to be better, because feeling comfortable is boring. Like, as much as your couch or your bed's comfy, it's a boring life, and I don't want anybody to live a boring life. Go in out and try different things, put yourself in a class situation, go and invest in a PT once in your life as well, because I promise you that it will transfer in some way. Even if it's a bad experience or a good experience, you will get something out of it. And it's about just finding where you fit in as well. And again, it's trial and error. I went from being on my own to then kind of doing different bits online, to then bodybuilding, to like where I am now, which is kind of like the hybrid lifestyle. And I'm loving it. It's the most happiest I've ever been, and everybody around me is honestly fantastic. I've got nothing bad to say about my life, and I'm at such peace, and it feels great, honestly.
That's beautiful advice and very beautifully put. And it just shows you, because when you are happy, like you've just mentioned, you actually glow from the inside out. And there's nothing, that's actually externally changed. But you just know when someone's putting the work in, and you know when someone's feeling good up here. And that's something that we've both experienced. And it's like, people always talk about it, like when gals are heartbroken, they fucking glow up, and that's because they're putting the work in.
They do. And I love seeing it for anyone. It makes me sad that they've had to go through the heartbreak. Like, I went through quite a lot last year. And anybody that knows me, it's like it was a crazy year and a half of my life. But it's not until that moment where you walk away and you start healing, you start feeling good, and people start recognizing and going, you look so happy. But then that makes you feel a bit sad, because you're like, so I'm walking about like Debbie down there for so long. But I look at pictures and I'm going, I don't look like, I'm here, but I'm not shining through of who I was. I was just suppressing myself for so long, but now I'm just like, here I am, this is me, I'm authentic, I'm genuine, and I just feel so good about life again as well. And I think
the like iPhone memories that pop up on your album when it comes up, and I'm like, I do not recognize that person. Who is she? I'm like, get it away. Even like, I quite like it, because I'm like, look how far I've come. Like,
my sister
not
said
that person anymore.
She's like, I've got so much hope for my sister's beautiful. Like, I love art pieces. She's like, you've changed so much, like every couple of years, and you look better every single time. And I was like, I've also went through a lot of crap to get through, where I'm in a lot of heartbreak, but it's possible for anybody. Like, I know I'm just your average Joe. I'm not anything special. I've done all the work myself. And if I can do it, like, genuinely anybody can do it. And it's just about, I'm so big on having your surroundings as positive as you can, because that makes all the difference. Because if you're having a crap day, you just need that one person just to elevate you. And I've got like that one special person that will always elevate me no matter what. And I had to go through crazy 28 years of my life to find that as well. And it's such a special moment when that happens.
Yeah. So it's worth
But
it,
it's also
gals.
'cause
Keep going.
Yeah, but you also need the internal work as well. It's not just relying on
Yes.
other people's happiness. And I think people always mistake that.
Oh,
I think they need to source it out. Where I done the Reiki, I done my meditation. The meditation was, I think, my breakthrough.
Yeah.
Because I just sat at peace with myself. And honestly, like, as soon as I done my meditation, I'd done that course, life opened up for me.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, and everything that's came into my life has been amazing. Like, I've got my boyfriend now and he's just fantastic. And I've got all the good friends in my life that I need. And I've cut out all the kind of the heavy weight that I don't need. I keep people at a distance. I'll still love them from afar, but everybody is so close to me now.
Yeah.
It's just a peaceful moment, and I will protect everything of that now. I'm like, I'm at peace.
Yep.
You're not giving me a fuck yes, it's a no. It's what I always go say.
That deserves another applause. I like that's just so good. So anybody listening to this just now will be like, yes, because we just need to hear that from people, especially like you say, we're just normal lassies, and you can change. You need to put in the work, and unfortunately, sometimes it's through a shitty experience or whatever it is. But oh my god, it's 11/11.
You're bad, girl. I love that.
So we are always talking about all this stuff on this podcast anyway. So there you go, guys. It's not just Nelia and I. Chantel has just confirmed meditation works, gratitude works, journaling, the inner work.
And I was a person probably 4 years ago that would have went, I'm not meditating or laughing classes and stuff. But that's why I dragged my sister in it. She's 21 and I'm like, this will transform your life, because I'm 29 this year and I wish I had that when I was 20.
Of course.
Because I think life would be so different. And don't get me wrong, I've loved my journey. I'll never change it. But if meditation and that openness to manifesting and stuff was there then, just think what you can do. You've got this time. Use it. Life's too short. Far too short to waste it.
I wish they taught it in schools. I think.
Oh my god, like, it would make.
It would.
Such
they do
difference.
it in some international schools, but in the UK they don't, and I wish they did, because
it makes it.
It would
that's
honestly change.
I went to summer camp in the second year in 2019, I think that was, and then their mindset over there is completely different. I think that's how for me it was a culture shock, because we are very negative just as people, and we don't know that until you step out your comfort and go out to a different experience like that. Because Americans, if no one's ever met them, oh my god, they're just a different kettle of fish, because they're so high energy, so spontaneous. And that's when I started getting all this crazy energy, and like stuff happened to me at camp, and I was like, what is going on? But now I think I done a meditation actually in January with Cam, and I was like, I know what that moment was at camp, because that came through my meditation just here, and it was my inner child work. And I'm like, this makes sense, because when you're at camp, you're a kid, even though I'm an adult at that moment. I'm dancing on tables, I'm singing, I'm prancing about, I'm dancing, eating all the food, like the pickles, and I'm like, no wonder I gained like so much weight. Like, but it was just everything started clicking of why things happened 5 years ago to now, and bits and pieces and all. It's just, it's very cool when you start diving deep into it. It's such a beautiful moment, because you'll start understanding why certain things had to happen to you for a reason, but that doesn't mean it's all craziness as well.
And it's especially important if anyone is going through anything, or trying to find their why almost, or you will eventually have these light bulb moments. You go, okay, that makes sense, and that makes sense, and it does all come together. It's like it takes a while to get there, and it does take a lot of work, but everything comes 360, I find. And I quite often even think back to experiences where I'm like, oh my god, I know now why that happened. And a great way to obviously start all this is finding inspirational people, which leads us on to the next question. So do you have, for the listeners, either inspirational podcasts, books, or people who you would recommend? Give us 3 if you can.
Yeah, so I think if anybody that's in the self-development era, we all know who Mel Robbins is. She is.
Love her.
I just love her. I think because she's older as well, she's got a lot of life experience, and she's such a genuine character. Like, I tell all my clients to go and listen to her podcast. I just think she's she's raw, she's honest,
Yeah.
she gives it how it is, and I honestly love her. I think she's such a great person. Also love, I think it's Roxy Nafuse, I think it is. I think it's a good name. Seven Steps of Manifestation and the Confidence. I've actually just started listening to that on Spotify Audible as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really good because again, it's raw, it's honest. She's not just being your typical normal life. She's addicted to drugs and she's done this, and again, she's just honest about it because UK culture, everybody's had their party era at some point. And I think that's just a nice journey to see because I'm like, well, if she can do it, I can do it. And then as my fitness girlie, I just love Lucy Davis. I look up to her so much as a YouTuber, an influencer, because she's raw, she's real, and her stuff's really interesting to watch. Like her stuff where how she trains and how she is and how she got there, and I love her. Honestly, she motivates me. I put her on when I'm eating my lunch and I'm like, that's that. Oh, I'm like, wow, she looks bloody good. Again, I always flip it, go, if they can do it, I can do it. Like, that's the type of person I am. I'm like, well, if she jumps out of a plane, I definitely can jump out of a plane and I'll skydive and I'll do this. And if she can run 100k, what stops me doing that as well? So that's why I like looking up to people that would challenge me, even men as well. Like I watch a lot of podcasts with men, Modern Wisdom. I quite like some of his stuff because he doesn't just get anybody on his podcast for the sake of money or views and stuff. I quite relate to a lot of his stuff. And Nick Bear, who owns P&Ne, again, he's an endurance athlete. He's really good. And all his athletes, to be honest, in BPN, if anybody's in the fitness era and they like that kind of lifestyle, I think anyone that he sponsors is an amazing influence to watch because he is so important with their values and how they show up each day because he protects his business but he also protects his people. And I think you don't get that much nowadays. So watching him is so inspiring. And he's just a dad with 2 kids trying to run a business. And I'm like, that's cool as well.
Love it.
Like what you've just said there is, I think we're all now more opening our eyes to things that aren't authentic and people who aren't real. And it's, you now can see who is, and they're the ones who are so inspiring. And because we speak about this a lot, can be quite jealous about others, or they maybe look at others negatively. Like you said, we're in quite a negative society, a negative culture. But it's then flipping that in its head and being like, no, if they can do it, then so can I. And it's not a negative way, it's inspiration. Like instead of being like envious, you then just go, no, wait a minute, like they're amazing. And if they can do that, then that's exactly what I'm going to go and do.
Positively. Yeah,
definitely. And cut out the news. That's what I say to everybody. Don't watch news.
Yes.
Preach.
I can't stand it. I'm like that.
Same.
I never listen to the radio, never listen to the news.
No.
I don't actually go on TikTok often, to be honest. I go on Instagram. I don't really use Facebook. I don't use much social media platform apart from my Instagram. Just cut out the noise.
And
it's
do not
like your life
the news.
Agreed.
No
I'm
news.
in a bubble. That's what I always say. Like even with reiki, like, we just always say, like, put yourself in a bubble,
Protect your bubble.
yourself, and that's it. And don't let any outside noise come in. And that's what I do now all the time.
Yes. So good.
Well, that leads us on to our final question, which is if you had a journal open right now and you were to do a little journaling exercise, what would you, if you were to write a little note to yourself or a little letter to yourself or just a little piece of advice to your old self, that can be at any age or any stage in your life, what would you say?
Just visualize yourself.
A word of wisdom.
There's been so different, many Chantels out there. So I think just be proud of yourself. Be okay with the journey you're on. Also be okay with the mistakes that you're going to make as well, because it's all a journey and it's all a learning curve. And how you might feel now isn't going to how you're going to feel forever as well. You will overcome anything. You're strong, you're capable, and you are very confident when you believe in yourself. So start just believing yourself a little bit more and just showcase that and just enjoy the journey, because it is going to be a journey of hardship and good shit, but it's not all negative as well.
Yeah, and I honestly think if young Chantel was looking at you now, she would be so fucking proud because you honestly inspire so many people.
Like
it's and it'd be so hard. Like when you obviously might reflect on a person, like your past self, you might not even recognize them, but it's just important to remember that they got you to where you are, and they would actually be like, oh my God, is that me? Wow.
Who is she?
And I think even like for our generation as well, like I don't remember being able to look up to many people like within, especially within fitness. We never really had, especially females.
Yeah.
We never had anybody to look up to. So now I can be that for my younger self. I always look at it because when I was in high school, I was just peroxide blonde hair, tangled, and I go look at myself. I'm like, I'd be so proud of who I am now because I'm just feeling so good about myself. And again, that took a lot of Maybelline matte mousse, and you will all understand that. And
oh, aye.
the concealer lips and
I know.
and all that, you know what I mean? Our generation had to go through it for the younger ones. So these younger ones, you have got it a lot better, and I'm buzzing for you, honestly. It's so good to see.
So what have you got planned that's exciting coming up? So you've obviously said that you've done the marathon. You've got, is it Edinburgh coming up? What else have you got planned?
So, I've got my clients are doing the Edinburgh one because I want to make sure that they're all performing at their best, and I'll be at the wee cheerleader at the side. That is. So actually this weekend I'm going away to High Rocks to do Berlin doubles with my boyfriend. So that's the next event, which will be exciting. I'm also going to be very uncomfortable because he's a wee speed demon. So I'll be put out my comforts again, and I know that, but I'm also very excited because it's a different challenge. After that, I'll be just training. I'm going to relax for a wee bit, just unwind, let my body recover, because the past 5 months of training has been intense. I've loved that, and it's about just sitting, reflecting now on what I actually want to do for the rest of the year as well. So I've got a few ideas of what I want to do, but after this weekend, that will put it in stone for me what I want to do for the end of the year, and potentially get another 1 or 2 events, and then I'll be like, right, okay, this is now the journey that I'm going on to pursue X, Y, and Z as well. So this weekend will do it for me.
Exciting. So
I
mean, we'll need to be following to catch up, guys. So you can find Chantel on Instagram, and I believe you're Chantel Wilkie Fit.
Yes,
we'll leave it down below in the description.
So we'll all want to know what you're up to, because I swear I can just see this gal doing like a 200k ultra or something like that next.
Never say never. Never say never.
I can see it. You're doing Ironman.
I watched. I need to learn how to swim. That's my sure. But that comes from like my childhood, where it's like I hate to get my hair wet. So, but again, never say never. I don't know where I'm going to be 4 years, 5 years time. So, if I start swimming, you will know what's coming.
Oh, love it! I can see it.
Never say never, honestly. I'll say yes to anything right now.
I love it. I love it.
So, guys, you'll all need to give her a wee follow, and because you just said there'll be X, Y, and Z, but you're not sharing too much, so we'll need to be following to see what it is that you're up to. But we just want to say a massive thank you for joining us. You have been the most amazing first guest that we could ask for. And honestly, I think your story will inspire so many people. I'm inspired sitting here.
Same.
We're inspired. So honestly, thank you so much for sharing and being so open and personal, because it can be difficult to open up about stuff. And I think you've spoke beautifully throughout. And honestly, I hope this episode helps so many people.
It will. It definitely will.
Thank you so much for having me on. And if anybody has got questions or they want to drop me a message, like my messages are always open, because I know how hard it can be feeling lonely and stuff like that as well. Like same with you girls, like I know for a fact you would be reaching out to anybody as well. So just reach out, don't feel alone. That's what I would always say as well.
Yeah, we're the gals supporting gals here. We love
it.
it.
Always.
We'll wrap up there, and we will be back with another guest
very soon
next week. Yes. So stay tuned, and thanks again, Chantel. We appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye. See ya. Bye.